building a home with a production builder might be one of the most fun and potentially most stressful things you do when it comes to real estate transactions. So you're trying to decide, hey, is this for you? Or do you want to go this route? Do you not want to go this route? And if you want to go this route, how do you make the most of it? How do you get the best incentives? How do you get all the things that you need to know to make this a smooth experience and get as much money possible from the builder? If you're thinking about that, that's what I've got for you today. I think I've got a list of 10, 11 things to talk you through to make you a pro when it comes to buying your next new build home here in DFW. We haven't met before. My name is Zach. My team and I, we sell new construction real estate. Whether you are buying from a builder's inventory or you're building from the ground up, like we're talking about today, if you're here, if you're trying to get here, we have a lot of relocation clients. Whatever it is, we're here to help. We put our contact information, it's like right here. Reach out if you have questions. So let me be specific. If you're looking for tips on how to get the best deal on a inventory home that could close in like 60 days. We have another video we just recently did. Go check that one out after you're done with this one. This one specifically is going to focus on you building from the ground up with a builder like a Highland, a Bloomfield, a Pacesetter, a Perry, any of those builders here in DFW that we love to work with. I'm going to give you some tips to work through that and how to make the most of this process. First one is you've got to understand base pricing is always going to go up in a neighborhood. Like it just happens, right? So when you're looking online and you're looking at the builder's website and you see, hey, we can get this, Leland floor plan and it's right now in this neighborhood, it starts at $450. Well, $450 is not going to be your final purchase price. That's just the base of the plan. Like if you made no changes, no structural upgrades, did everything standard and didn't get a lot premium, then it would be that, right? So, but you've got to figure you're going to add in, you're probably going to add in an extra bathroom, you're going to change out the patio, whatever structural options you want to do. And then you're going to go to the design center and you're going to pick flooring, cabinets, countertops, all of these things, and those are going to get added in, and it's all going to come together in your final purchase price. People are like, well, how much should we expect to spend? Like, what's a good number? And I feel like based on our data and based on what we see clients doing, most of the time, we see people in a 12 to 15, 17% delta of what the base price is. So, if you figure a base price at $450 or $500, figure 15% of that. So let's do that math real quick. So 500, I can't do that kind of math in my head. So 500,000 times 0.15, $75,000 is roughly, on average, what we see people spend in all of their upgrades. And then of course you back out the incentive money that the builder gives you. So that's just kind of think through that from your perspective. So I will tell you, base pricing is going to change periodically in a neighborhood. So for some builders, it's every 5 contracts or it's every 10 contracts, or it changes based on the quarter, or they'll sell a ton of homes and then they'll raise it to kind of try and slow some things down, if we're honest. So it's going to fluctuate on the base price. And when it fluctuates, sometimes you're going to see it change on what the standard features are. So like if you get in now and your base price is this and somebody else's comes in and theirs is $10,000 more, they might be losing a standard feature. They might be gaining a standard feature. It's going to change. So the best time to secure the best base pricing is being one of the first homes in a neighborhood. If the builder is opening up a brand new neighborhood and you can be one of those first contracts and they're trying to get momentum going, that is usually the best time to get the top base pricing and get the best incentives. And we'll talk about those in a little bit. So ask them, hey, are these planned to increase soon? And here's the truth. Most of the time, the sales rep doesn't actually know. They're going to come in on a Tuesday morning and they're going to get an email from corporate or from their management that says, hey, your base pricing is now this. And for some builders, they'll give them a grace period. It's like, hey, anybody you've been in conversation with, you've got a week to get them under contract at the old pricing. Otherwise, they're going to pay the new pricing. Sometimes they know and they've kind of been given a hint that it might be going up, but truthfully, most of the time, it is a shock to the system for the salesperson. And they're like, oh yeah, they got told your pricing goes up and your incentive changed. And it's like, figure it out. And they're like, okay, like I guess that's what we'll do. So it's going to go up, it's going to change. And you kind of want that in your neighborhood. You want them forcing that appreciation on the neighborhood. So if you're early, you're going to get some of the best pricing on the bases. And I think if you get to the end, you're probably going to, like, you're one of the last ones, you're the end of a phase, you might get some good pricing on where you're going to start. Now, typically we don't see builders reduce base pricing. We will see them incentivize on top of that, but it's very rare that we see them negotiate and start reducing base pricing from the beginning. We have had some people come back and do price adjustments based on what they've done with future contracts, but like saying, hey, it's $450, can we start the base price on this home at $425? It's probably not going to happen. What they are going to do is give us more incentive money to play with, right? So that kind of leads us into the second point. What you have to understand in your incentive money that differs from a inventory home is this kind of gets split into two separate pots. On an inventory home, the builder has already calculated all the upgrades that they've put in it. You know, the flooring, the cabinets, the countertops, the structural upgrades, the lights, those get put in, and then they give out a price. And then from there, it's like, okay, we've got, you know, this much to play with on incentive. And so they put it there. On a build, those kind of get separated out with a lot of builders. So you're going to have your design or structural allotment incentive, and then you're going to have your actual closing, like, hey, this money toward closing costs. And those get separated. Some of them will say, hey, it's a lump sum of money. We don't care how you use it. You can use it all here. You can use it there. Some of them will do that. But a lot of them will separate it out. And I will tell you, if they give it to you in a lump sum, make sure that you set some back, like mentally. You say, okay, hey, we want to keep 15 or 20,000 to get us to where we need to be on closing costs to help us buy the rate down and things like that. You also need to understand, so like if you're looking at the advertisements, or you're looking at, you see Facebook ads, or you see YouTube ads, or you see on the builder's website, and typically what they will advertise is their rate promotions, right? It's like right now you'll see like 3.99 or 4.99 or 2.99 for the first year. Now, oh, that's an incredible deal. Most of the time that is not on a build contract. That is on an inventory contract. And the incentives on a build end up being more what they would call flex cash. So a dollar amount versus a rate. And the reason why they do that is, at least here in North Texas, our average build time from start to finish is about 6 to 8 months. Now that gets shortened if you're doing a little bit of a smaller home, and it gets lengthened if you're doing a little bit of a bigger home, right? But from the time we contract to getting permits and plans and meeting with the builder, about 6 to 8 months total. And so the reason they don't do rates on that is because they really can't project in the market what they're going to see from an interest rate perspective in 6 or 7 months. And it's kind of volatile, to be honest. And so like them buying that rate is cost prohibitive. So that's why you'll see, hey, we're going to give you $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 in closing costs, and we're going to give you money toward design incentive. So that's where that's kind of where your negotiating power is not necessarily in getting money off base pricing, but it's in getting money toward upgrades, toward design, and toward closing costs. So if they can add more into that's the sweet spot of what you're trying to ask for, and that's what you're trying to negotiate for. In the same vein, tip number 3 is sometimes they can give you upgrades at a discount or for free. It really depends on the builder, and it depends on the seasonality. Hey, so we had a buyer recently in a neighborhood, and the builder in that neighborhood, because they were wide enough lots, they were 50, 60, and 70 foot lots, they were throwing in a third car garage upgrade at no charge. And that's about a $15,000 to $19,000 upgrade. And so that was just the promotion they were running. They're like, hey, we'll do third car garages on any of our lots that will fit it. And it's like, okay, then we still had structural money on top of that. That was awesome. So you can get that sometimes. They'll say, hey, we can do the 8-foot doors for and not charge you. It's really one of those things you can ask for. Don't expect it. They expect that they're going to give you more, design allotment money, right? And of course, like with anything else, the more you spend, the more they're probably going to give you. They're not going to give you $100,000 in design allotment on a $300,000 home, because you don't need to spend that much money. You will be way too overbuilt for that neighborhood. So ask, and then as you're asking that, ask the sales rep, because they'll know, hey, on average, what are you seeing customers spend? Like, hey, give us a ballpark, tell us what we need. And you want to kind of be in that mid-tier of the neighborhood, right? Like, you don't want to be the cheapest home, and you don't want to build out to be the most expensive home. And if you couple that with good standard features, so if you're working with a builder, for example, like Highland is ultimately probably my favorite builder, one of my favorite builders to sell, and I sell more of them than any other builder in a year. they usually have really, really good standard features. And so you can get the upgrades that you want without totally busting the budget. So your incentive and your negotiating power is in the, like I said, it's in the design incentive, it's in the structural incentive, it's in the closing cost incentive, and it's in the potential for asking for some of those upgrades to be comped or covered, like in the case of that, it's like a third car garage. Number 3, and I think this is one that people miss a ton. And if you get this wrong, you can't change it later. This is, I would tell you, be super strategic about your lot selection, right? So some lots within a neighborhood are going to have premiums on them. And it varies. So we've seen them, $2,500, $5,000, $10,000. I've seen some neighborhoods with $80,000 to $100,000 lot premiums. And those are like the best of the best lots, right? So be very strategic about the lot that you pick. Think about, which direction the home faces, north and south, east and west, where you're going to get sun, where the sun is going to set, which way your house is going to set. Is it in the deepest part of the neighborhood where you won't have tons of traffic? Is it on the main street where you're going to have everybody and their mom in traffic? Is it down the street from the model? So for the next 2 years, you're constantly going to have cars parked in front of your house. Be very strategic about the lot that you select. Ask them for the full release map, so here's the hard part. If you're early on in a phase and sometimes they don't have all of the lots from the developer. So there's some that they I really, really want this lot. And it's like, well, we can't sell that lot yet. It might be worth waiting to get the lot that you want, but you got to be quick when it comes up. So you be very strategic about that. Ask them for the future releases, and the best ones might not be available. Now people ask that, can we negotiate on lot premiums? 100%. We can always ask about negotiating on a lot premium. Is something that's $100,000 on a lot premium going to become $10,000? It might not. It's probably, and if it does, I am really good at what we do. But so we, for example, we had a client recently, we took half. We were able to ask for half off of a lot premium. Lot they were looking at, I think, was about $5,000. So we got it down to $2,500, and it was a beautiful, beautiful, great lot. So ask about it. It's always a potential. The challenge you will face, the deeper a neighborhood goes, which means the more it's completed, the more limited you will be on lot selection. So developers give builders what they call repetition rules, which means that they, especially in these neighborhoods, if they don't want to be 100% cookie cutter, they'll tell them, hey, you have, the Dr. Pepper house here, and so you can't have another Dr. Pepper house there. Granted, now this is a regular cherry Dr. Pepper, this is a zero sugar Dr. Pepper. This one's far better. Side note, this one better than this one if you're buying these. Whatever, but this one's better because it doesn't have sugar. So they'll tell you, hey, you can't have these right next to each other. You have to put this one here, and then you got to get your energy drink in the middle, and then we'll stack them up. And it's got to have space like that, right? That's the best way I know how to explain it. Side note, I need to not have as many drinks on my table. So you'll have a repetition rule, and it'll be like, hey, this house can't repeat every third house or every fourth house, or it's got to be in a 4-step grid. And so the deeper you go into a neighborhood, you're going to become limited on your lot selections based on what other people do. So you just kind of have to ask them for the plans. And as you're doing that, ask them for what they call a lot fit, right? So you want to see how your home sits on top of that lot. Like if this is what they're expecting, where's it going to sit? Which way is it oriented, left or right on the swing of the garage? So be super strategic on that. I think that's one of those things that gets overlooked because you definitely can't change it later. Number 4, when it comes to building, is I want you to maximize your incentive money, and I want you to spend it on things, so similar to the lot, I want you to spend it on things that are almost impossible to change later. What do we mean by this? Spend your money priority-wise on structural options first. So if you're wanting a 5th bedroom, or you're wanting to convert a full bathroom or a 3rd car garage or a media room or extend the patio, prioritize those things first over things that make the home pretty. We can always, is it a challenge to go in and rip out floors? Yes. But can it be done? Yes. Can I build a 3rd car garage later? Probably not. So maximize your incentive dollars based on structural upgrades first, and then spend money on design second. Now, with this, super important to tell you, builders are not going to negotiate on the cost of doing something. If it's like, well, hey, my cousin Earl could show up and do it for this, good for you. Tell your cousin Earl thanks, but they're not going to change their pricing on a structural option because you think you could do it cheaper. So they're not going to negotiate on that. And at the same thing, as we talk about design center, they're not going to negotiate with you on the cost of material and labor to do something. The cost is going to be the cost. So we need to get more in the incentive than trying to spin our wheels, getting them to tell us why something costs what it does. Does that make sense? Like the garage, it's labeled in their system. Based on the engineering plans, the third car garage on this plan cost X. Well, it's like, well, I don't like X. Can we make it Y? No, you cannot. They're not going to do that. They might give you more money to help pay for it. That's the conversation you want to have. Don't try and get them to haggle with you on the cost of what it is to do the upgrade or to change the structure. But spend your money getting your structural stuff right first, and then go back and get all of your design stuff. We've got video content on, hey, how to spin, like what you should do with the builder, like builder upgrades that are worth it and builder upgrades that I would probably avoid and do later. We probably need to update that. That's actually probably coming. Structure, more important than pretty, in my opinion. Get the pretty stuff, but get the structure and the lot right first. The other one that people don't often consider is an elevation. So elevation is like the look that, like what you see from the street, like with the roof line, where the windows are, the porch, the gables, all of those things. And different elevations are going to have a different cost. The more intricate they are, it's going to have an upgrade cost to it. So it could be $1,500, it could be $5,000, it could be $10,000, depending on the stone. So get those things right because they can't be changed later. Get your structure right, get your lot right, and then get all the pretty stuff later. And that's kind of the sequence and how you'll do it anyway with the builder. They're going to pick the floor plan, the lot, the structure. That's all going to be on the initial contract with most builders. And then you're going to go in and pick the structural the design options after the fact. The other thing to tell you is in terms of process. So we're getting away from maximizing our tip, and I'm just giving you a quick processing tip. With a inventory home, typically you're only going to make one earnest money deposit, and it's because the house is almost done. With a build home, so like you're building this home from the ground up, the builder's probably going to have you make 2, if not 3 deposits for this contract. So you're going to make the initial earnest money deposit. And we think about that like an engagement ring. I mean, it's my wedding ring, but you get the idea. Engagement ring. This is what says, hey, you guys are in contract agreement. They're going to build this home for you. It's what secures the contract. That money is negotiable. It can be anywhere between $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. It is credited to you at closing, but it's what secures the contract. So you're going to make that initial deposit. A lot of builders are also now asking for an additional deposit based on design selections. And that deposit is usually somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 50% of design selections. So if you, let's just say you spend $20,000 on the design part of it, and they want 50%, they're going to ask for an additional $10,000 deposit. Again, credited to you at closing, but that money is secured within the contract, and they're going to ask for that after we get through design, which is usually, for most builders, about 6 weeks from the time that we contract. Pro tip on that. Many builders will let you set that up in like a payment plan style. What I mean by that is like, hey, we owe you an additional $10,000. Can we do, $5,000 this month and $5,000 next month? I've never had a builder say, nah, you can't do that, because they want to keep the contract going. Also, pro tip, if you're really listening, and if my builder sales reps are watching this, just pretend I didn't say this part. It's the builder sales rep responsibility to follow up with you about getting the design deposit. If for some reason they forget to follow up with you and you're like, oh my goodness, I never made that an additional deposit, that's okay. If they follow up with you, of course, make the deposit. But if they strategically forget to follow up about making that deposit, if you want to ask questions, ask questions. If you don't, then, go on about your life, kind of thing. So maximizing those dollars. I want you to also talk about timing the contract for leverage, right? So same kind of concept as in what we're getting in our design allotments. Every sales rep, they have a goal for the month of what they need to sell. Their management has a goal for the area of what they need to sell. Ask them. So like, hey, if their backlog is low, like if they haven't sold a lot, and it's like, hey, how many, ask the question, how many more homes are left on this month's goal, or how many more homes are left on this quarter's goal? Like, use that to your advantage. Hey, maybe it turns into an extra 5,000 in design. Maybe it turns into an extra, thrown in feature or a discount on the lot premium. Use it to your advantage, but use it from the standpoint of like, hey, if we get this, we're willing to sign today, right? So we negotiate that on the front end and time it for your leverage, and ask them about it and get it all kind of in where you want it to be. This one is a hard one. Incentives do change. And so sometimes I'll have clients call me and they'll be like, Zach, we signed for this, but now we see that they're offering this better deal. Can we get that better deal? And it's like, maybe. It's a hard balance, right? Because like on the one hand, if the deal got worse, we wouldn't want the builder calling us and saying, hey, you guys got a real good deal, and our deal right now is worse than what we gave you. Can we like revert that? Like, we would be mad as the consumer. So going back to the builder and saying, hey, the deal got better. Can we? They might say yes, but they're likely to say no, right? So just balance that, especially if we're getting closer to closing. Now, what I will tell you we've had happen is we have had, hey, we got $25,000 in closing costs on the front end. It took us 7 months to build the home. And then we saw on the inventories, they were offering a 4.99 rate or something like that, right? We have been able to go back to the builder and say, hey, we've got 25,000, y'all are doing this rate. Can we convert that money into the rate? And they'll look at it and say, it's a potential. We can look at it. So leave your options open, but just know that it's probably, once we negotiate on the front end, we're getting all that we're getting right there, and it's probably not going to change. But on the flip side, they're not calling you if the deal gets worse and trying to get you to take less money. So just, and you want to get that in writing. So you're like, hey, can we get the flexibility? And just ask them there and see what they say, right? That's probably the biggest thing. In a build contract, number 7, there's going to be language about escalation clauses. And that means like if materials jump astronomically, they may pass that pricing on to you. Here's what I will tell you. That was used by a few different builders during 2020, 21, and the craziness of the world. In the last 3 years, we on average have sold somewhere between 40 and 70 homes a year. And I've had that escalation clause used 0 times in the last 3 years. So it is in the contract. Have we had builders use it? We have not. So I just want to give you that. Speaking of the contract, the builder contract, builders are not regulated by TREC, so Texas Real Estate Commission. They don't tell them what they have to or not have in their contracts. So all of these builders write their own contracts. Typically it is to their benefit. So what I'm telling you is you're not going to get that contract and the builder be like, and you be like, I don't like this line. I don't like this line. I want to add this line. And then here you go. They're going to tell you, thank you so much. We'll sell the home to somebody else. We're not changing our contract, because if we would let you change it, we would let everybody change it. The escalation clauses are in there. We have not had anybody use them. They're not going to change their contract, but understand it. The biggest thing in all of that is your earnest money in those contracts is non-refundable. So if you, for some reason, do not close on the home or you decide to walk away, they are not obligated to give you your money back. They will keep it. Now, have we had scenarios where life has happened and circumstances have come up and we've been able to get some of that money back? Yes, but they are not obligated to do that. The obligation to the contract says your earnest money is non-refundable. And so they will list that out. So just know that it's in there. My next couple tips before I give you these, you're like, I don't even know. I want to give you this one. This is kind of an aside note. And I'm going to point right here. I'm going to just we got a little QR code because I think a lot of you, we're finding that a lot of you are watching us on TV and you're getting this information. So you're like, I don't even know where to look to start browsing floor plans. I got you. The QR code right there. If you scan it with your phone, will take you directly to our website. You go up to the top and you hit the DFW hottest deals new construction, and you can browse. Like you can browse builders, you can browse inventory, you can browse floor plans. You don't have to go through Zillow. You don't have to go through Realtor. You can go directly and exclude to only new construction homes. It's a great tool to look at floor plans and begin processing where you're wanting to be. Also, if you're not here in Dallas, on our website we have a relocation guide. It's got some of our favorite areas, neighborhoods, and some of my favorite restaurants. If you're trying to figure out what's going on and what's what down here, grab that. It's a resource. It's there for you. Or if you're like, I just don't even know, like, let's set up a Zoom call, right? We want to have a conversation with you and say, hey, here's some floor plans, here's some builders, here's what we like, here's what we don't like, here's the areas we're looking in. how do we navigate that? I would love to just kind of have an opportunity to have a conversation with you and just be that resource and guide for you as we get through those things. When you're looking at this too, it's also important, you'll see, and you're like, I don't understand why it does this. The same home could have a cheaper base price depending on the neighborhood. And it's like, well, why? And it's like, well, land cost was more, or development costs were more, or they're getting better deals, worse deals from the developer, or less standard features, more standard features. Just look at them and browse them as a whole, right? Next tip that we're looking at is when you get into this build territory, make sure you ask the sales rep at the beginning about the HOA, ask them about the property tax rates, ask them about the MUD or the PID tax, which you're gonna find in most new neighborhoods, there is some sort of development MUD or PID tax attached to it. Ask them how much it is. You can't get out of it, so if you don't like it, you need to pick a different neighborhood. But good luck finding one that don't have them. There are a few, we know of a couple, and I feel like maybe we're getting some more, but just ask. Make sure you see what's going in on those taxes, because that is going to be part of your monthly affordability. So as we're talking timeline, what's going to happen? So you're going to write your contract. Within a couple of weeks, they're going to get you into design meetings. They're going to get you into electrical meetings. You're going to do all these things to pick, and then it's going to go like radio silent. And you're like, what's going on? And it's like, nothing's happening. Well, in the behind the scenes, they're ordering plans and permits and getting everything from your builder. That's when, once they have all of those things back, they will give you what's called a start meeting. And so you and the builder and the sales rep and your agent will go, and you'll sit with your builder and you'll talk through all the details. And that's kind of when they will start giving you a rough timeline, right? Like they're gonna say, hey, it's probably gonna take us another 5 months, or it's gonna take us 6 months based on what we've got in the pipeline. And it's kind of one of those moments where it's like, okay, this finally feels like we're getting started and things are moving and it's exciting. And then it's like, okay, here we go. So just kind of get that start date, right? Because your start date and it's gonna vary based on the builder, based on the community. Some communities take longer to get out permits than others, like Salina. Salina is notorious for being slow to get started because they're slow at getting permits, but a lot of people like building in Salina. It's also one of those things, like if you have a build and you have a home to sell, a build probably might be the best choice, because getting a builder to take a contingency on an inventory home is non-existent right now. Getting them to take contingencies, which means you have to get your home sold on a build, might happen, but they're gonna want that contingency removed early on. So somewhere in the, once they start to framing and drywall, they're probably going to ask to get those contingencies removed. So we got to figure out a game plan for that. And there's a lot of options. We could take a bridge loan, which we could talk about if you have the risk tolerance for it. So we just need to kind of plan strategically around those things. And of course, the further along your home gets, the more concrete that closing date becomes. So realistically, once you start seeing like cabinets and countertops in, they can probably with confidence tell you when your home is going to be complete. So that's tip, I think that's 7 or 8, 9 maybe. My next tip on this one to maximize your benefits is please, I'm begging you, get third-party inspections. I don't care who the builder is, I don't care how much you're spending, please get your third-party inspections. Ideally, you want to do those before they hang drywall. So your builder, they're going to schedule a start meeting, and then they're going to schedule the next official meeting that you have with them is a pre-drywall meeting with most builders. And so this is the point when the shell of your home is built, the roof is on, all the mechanical, so all the electrical, all the plumbing, everything is inside the walls, and they're about to insulate and drywall. You're going to meet your builder there. Before you meet them there, get a third-party inspector out. If you need some people, I think there's probably some people down in the description below. Spend the money. It's like somewhere between $400 and probably $800. Peace of mind to protect the investment. Third-party inspection there. And then at the end of the process, like when your home is done, your builder's going to schedule the terms are interchangeable, blue tape walk, orientation, buyer walkthrough. Like when they schedule that, get another third-party inspection before that so that you can talk with your builder and make sure everything is functioning the way it's supposed to function before you close on that home. You hand them that report, they take care of it. The really good builders usually don't give us much pushback on that. If you're not using a good builder, they might push back a little bit, but the good builders that we normally recommend, we don't normally have a ton of pushback on what we find on those reports. So you want to get that done and then put it in your calendar 9 or 10 months after you close, because most builders have a 1-year warranty. You want to get it inspected again to get everything, make sure it's good to go and get it covered before your 1 year is up. Now, speaking on warranties, I will tell you, There's something that is the same with every builder, and then there's some builder warranties that are different, and these kind of go together. The thing that's the same is, in general, warranty work is kind of a pain in the butt. It's like taking your car into the dealership, right? It's going to be a little bit difficult across the board with most builders. That's kind of the thing that's the same. The thing that's different is how they cover and what they cover. So up until I think the 2024, end of 2024, whenever the rules changed in Texas, used to, builders were required to carry a 10-year structure and foundation warranty. Laws changed in Texas. Now they're only required to cover it for 6. So many builders switched to a 1-6 warranty instead of a 1-10 warranty. There are builders that still do that 10-year structure and foundation warranty. So when you're thinking through your warranty, it's 1 year on basic cosmetic, like is your home functioning the way it's designed to function? 2 years mechanical, so anything in your walls, plumbing system, HVAC is typically your 2 years, and then 6 or 10 on structure and foundation. Couple of builders, so like Perry, for example, does a 2-10, so they do 2 years on their cosmetic side, which is really cool. So just ask that question, ask about your warranty process when you're signing the contract. The last thing on the warranty, some builders send it out to a third party. They use Pro Home, Builder Pros, 210, and they use a third party warranty company. I'm not saying that's bad, it just is. Some of them, like Highland and Perry, service their warranties in-house. Not saying it's good or bad. It is just a different thing. It happens. We talked about warranty. We talked about start dates. We talked about maximizing your incentive money and your design money. I think that's pretty much all you need to know. Last thing I'll tell you is, please, if you're going to do this, work with an agent that spends time in the new construction space. Don't just pull some rando off the street. Find somebody that knows the builders, can talk you through it. Hey, who the good ones are, who the bad ones are, who not to work with, why we like working with them, who can help throughout that process. If you'd like to work with us, we got our contact information. It's right down here. Would love to answer any questions you have. If you're curious about hey, which builders we like, which builders we don't like, you can find that video on our channel too. But hopefully we have armed you with everything you need to know to get as much money out of the builder as possible, to make it a smooth experience, and to enjoy the home building process. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you in our next video. Bye for now.